Okay guys, I'm moving on to chapter 7. It's the next factor. The chapter we've just done is functions, is feeding into graphing functions, okay? So they'll all be tested together, okay? So don't worry about getting a test on chapter 6. You'll be getting a test on chapter 6 and 7 together, right? So in this chapter we're going to graph, right, 3 types of functions. We're going to graph lines, quadratic functions, cubic functions. Right, a line is going to look like, it's going to be something x plus a number, right? So there's no x squared term basically, right? Okay, the highest power of x is just x on its own, okay? And your line is either be a straight line going up or a straight line going down, right? And how you'll recognize it is because the highest power of x is x, there'll be no x squared or x cubed or anything above it, okay? A quadratic function is going to look like something x squared, right, something x and a number, okay? So it's going to be something x squared plus something x plus a number. Remember, quadratics have a squared term in them, okay? So in a quadratic function, girls, when you graph it, it's either going to look like a smiley face, a U shape, or a sad face, right? So it's either going to look like this or this. And how do you know? It's this number in front of the x squared. So it's number in front of the x squared that tells you whether it's happy or sad, right? If a is positive, the number in front of x squared, if a is positive, we're all happy, right? When we're positive, we're happy, so we're smiling, right? Whereas if the number in front of x squared is negative, okay, when we're negative, we're down the dumps and we're very sad, okay? So it doesn't matter what any of the other numbers, doesn't matter about what's here or here, it's just this number tells you whether you're smiling or you're sad, right? The third type of function you'll be asked to draw is a cubic function, and a cubic function will either look like this, right, or it'll look like this, okay? So a cubic function will be, it'll have an x cubed term, right? It'll have an x term, x squared term, sorry, an x term and a number, okay? So these are new to this year. We've had these last year, okay, or in third year, but these, there's an x cubed term. So there's an x cubed term, an x squared term, an x term and a number, okay? And again, it's the number in front of x cubed, right, okay, that tells us. So if a is positive, right, so if this number in front of x cubed is positive, right, when we're positive, we always finish on a high, so we're going up high, so we finish up high, right, whereas a is negative, negative means we're down in the dumps, so we'll finish on a low, okay? So this is when a is negative. Again, it doesn't matter what signs are on any of the other numbers, this is the one that tells us, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of these individually and learn how to draw a line, a quadratic function and a cubic function, okay? So I'm going to start with graphing lines, okay? Now, to get your points, you need points to graph, okay? So basically we're getting points and then we're drawing the points, okay? Now, we'll be using our calculator to generate the points, okay? But I'm just going to show you how to do them out by hand, just so you understand what we're doing, okay? So if they ask me to graph this line, remember fx is another way of saying y. So y equals 3x plus 2. So you look at that and you say, well, that's a line. How do I know it's a line? Because there's no x squared term, there's no x cubed term. The only x that's in there is x on its own. So you know straight away it's a line, so you know what you're drawing. Okay? So graph this in the domain minus 2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 2. See this bit in here, that just means between. So you have to get all the points that are between minus 2 and 2. So what we do is we get f of minus 2, we get f of minus 1, we get f of 0, we get f of 1 and f of 2. Okay, so to get f of minus 2, everywhere I see an x, I put in a minus 2, right? So my function is 3x plus 2, so instead of that x, I'm putting in a minus 2. So it's 3x plus 2 into the calculator with that, and that'll give me minus 4. Okay, so to get your point, girls, you put in a minus 2, and you got out a minus 4. So you make up your couple from input, output, right? X, Y, input, output. Okay, this one, to get 3 times, instead of that x, you put in minus 1. So 3 times minus 1 plus 2 into the calculator with that, and that'll give you 1. So you basically, you put in a minus 1, and you got out a 1. Right? Then put in a 0. So it's 3 times 0 plus 2. So 3 times 0, 0 plus 2 is 2. So you put in a 0 and got out a 2. Okay? The next one is you want to put in a 1. So it's 3 times 1 plus 2. 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5. So you put in a 1 and you got out a 5. And finally, 3 times 2 plus 2. 3 2s are, that would be 8. So you put in a 2 and got out an 8. So these are your points to graph your graph. Okay? So they're your points. Okay, so off you go to your graph paper. The x's so are minus 2 across to 2. So your x terms go from minus 2 over to 2. Your y's, the lowest one is minus 4 and the highest one is 8. Okay, so you draw your scale accordingly. Okay, so then you graph. Remember, go across first. So across to minus 2 down to minus 4. Across to minus 1 up to 1. Across 0 up to 2. No, something's wrong there. What did I do wrong? I think that could be a minus 1, is it? That should be a minus 1, sorry. I knew there was something wrong there. So it's across to minus 1 down to minus 1. Then it's 0 to across 0 up to 2. Then it's 1 up to 5. And then it's 2 up to 8. And you know it's going to be a straight line. So do as I say now, not as I do. Get a ruler and draw it. Okay, I don't have a ruler, sorry. So you draw it with a ruler, obviously, and there's your line. Okay? So as I say, girls, you can generate these points on the calculator. So I'm going to do a second example, but I'm going to use the calculator. Okay? So you have to graph the function 2x minus 5 in the domain minus 1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 4. Okay, so on your calculator I tried to write out the steps as best I could. The only thing is I have a new calculator and I'm pretty sure most of you had the old one. So I said 2 or 3 here because I'm not sure. Right, okay, but table will be written beside it. So if it says number 2 table, you press number 2. If it says number 3 table, you press number 3. I'm not sure which one it is. Okay, so graph that. You have to get all the points between minus 1 and 4. So that means you have to get minus 1 whatever, 0 whatever, 1 whatever, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they're all your couples. Okay, so on your calculator, okay, you press this mode button first. See, mode is alongside on, right? Okay, so you press the mode button first. Okay, right, now you'll get a list. It's different to mine, but I think number 3 might be table, so press number 3. Okay, and you should get up f of x equals, right? So then I want to write in 2x minus 5. So you write 2, and the x, girls, is over the closed bracket in red, so it's in red over there. So to access that, you press alpha to access the red ones. So alpha and the closed bracket will get you the x. Then you have a minus 3, right? And then you press equals. Equals is like enter, so just equals, right? Now the next one won't come up in yours, okay? Now yours will say start. So the start is the first point. So you want to start at minus 1. So you press minus 1 and you press enter, right? End, then yours will be slightly different, but the same words will come up. The end is 4, right? Because you want between minus 1 and 4. So the end is 4, so press 4, right? Then yours will come up it's always step 1. Step 1 comes up, so you just enter it, right? Just press equal sign and move it on. And then you get your table of values. So you'll have -1, -5, 0, -3, 1, -1, 2, -1. And to get the rest of them, use the down arrow, use 3, 3, and 4, 5. Okay? So what you do is, right, okay, you write those out, right, okay, on your points for the graph, okay. So the calculator generated -1, -5, 0, -3, 1, -1, 2, 1, 3, 3, 4, 5, there's your points, -1, -5, 0, -3, 1, -1, 2, 1, 3, 3, 4, 5, okay. So you look at your x's go from -1 over to 4, your y's, the lowest one is -5 and the biggest one is +5, okay. So you get your graph, right, okay, and you draw your scale accordingly. So -1, -5 is across to -1, down to -5. Next one is 0, -3, across 0, down to -3. Next one is 1, -1, across 1, down to -1. 2, 1 is across 2, up 1. 3, 3 is across 3 and up to 3. And 4, 5 is across 4 and up to 5. And again, do as I say, not as I do, use a ruler. Okay, and there's your line. Okay, is that right? So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to draw a few lines, okay, just to practice them. So we're going to do page 459, page 159. Will you do 2, 3, 4, and 5? And in number 3, it says copy and complete the table. Don't mind that. Just get your points off the calculator and draw the line. Okay? So you can do calculator all the way because that's what you'll be using in the exam. So I want you to use the calculator to generate your points and draw your graph. Okay? Thank you.